Welcome to SPS Extra, where we talk about all the latest in Spokane Public Schools athletics and activities. I'm Taylor Brooks.
And I'm Stephanie Splater.
And it is fall. We love the fall.
Oh, I love fall.
Me too.
It's 86 today, though, when we're recording this, so it's summer.
And
fall.
I walked down here in my jacket. I was actually getting pretty sweaty.
That's what some September in Spokane is like anyway, so that's awesome.
Obviously, school has started. Our gyms are filled. Extracurriculars are getting going. Clubs are being formed and starting to meet for the first time. And then we have fall sports in full swing, teams in the midst of their seasons. And it's just a really exciting time.
Absolutely. I've been to 2 football games and then a volleyball game last week and was just so happy to be there. All of it's been great, cool, and everyone seems excited to be back. So let's go.
Yeah, we're really excited for this episode. We have Dr. Adam Swinyard who will join us, and his perspective on not only the start of school, but kids being involved, amazing. It's very, very beautiful the way his mind works with, especially when it comes to this.
I was at a meeting the other day with some people that were all over the U.S. talking about their leadership and their experience with their school district. And I was able to say, wow, everybody should want to work with Spokane schools because we have a superintendent who cares deeply about kids being involved and connected in activities and athletics. And that wasn't the case everywhere. And so I was able to brag a little bit about it. So it'll be great to hear from him today. His enthusiasm for kids being connected and all the things is awesome.
So coming up next, we are actually going to dive right into this with Dr. Adam Swinyard and get into his conversation. This will not be the full conversation that we had with him. This will be part of it. So with this podcast, you can find the full entire interview with Dr. Swinyard. But for this moment, we get to hear still amazing stuff from him. Welcome back to SPS Extra. We have Dr. Adam Swinyard with us, the district superintendent. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. And what better way to start the school year? We've been doing this podcast since January now, Stephanie, but to have Adam on and just really gear us up for this incredible school year that we have ahead of us.
23-24 is going to be awesome. We're off to a good start in many ways, and we're super excited about all the things that we have planned for this year.
I know it's probably hard to condense what you're most excited about for this school year, but if you could sum it up, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, well, as an educator, I've always loved the start of school and the closing of school and just the energy and the excitement and the optimism. So as you mentioned, this is going to be the best year ever in the history of Spokane Public Schools.
Better be.
Yeah, we're coming off a record high graduation rate in the spring, and our enrollment is steadily increasing. We're all staffed and ready to go, and so you can really feel the optimism and the excitement that is in the air across the city.
How can you not be when we're doing so much? Opening 2 more new middle schools, the stadium. What has that been like, and that energy around? We've been opening middle schools and buildings for a while now, but still, it probably doesn't get old. It doesn't get old to have those new modern buildings, knowing they're going to be filled with super fun, smiling kids and staff members, and then a stadium where it's just, we've talked about it a lot. It's going to be state of the art and so incredible for those kids to experience.
Yeah, well, what's awesome right now is we're a school district that's on the move. And that's such a great thing and such a source of pride for our staff and our students and our families. And those buildings are definitely a representation of how our district's moving forward. Our family survey in the spring, we had 80% of our families said that they would highly recommend our schools. And on average, families scored us a 4 out of 5 on school quality. That's pretty amazing and just a resounding endorsement from our families about the experience that our kids have. And as you mentioned, we have so many awesome things going on with activities and athletics and clubs and new buildings. So there are just so many emerging opportunities that have really positioned us as a 21st century school district, and what that looks and what that sounds like. Certainly we still have areas to grow and things we need to do better at. But there is a lot to be proud of if you're a part of Spokane right now.
On one of our previous episodes, we talked to some Sacagawea Thunderbirds who were really excited. They're going to be 8th graders this year, so they were really excited about their new school. And they were reflecting on the yellow gym that was the old Sac gym.
Yeah.
And we all know that really well.
Yeah.
But they were excited. And so we hope to circle back with them and see how things are going, because it's a cool time to be at school and a cool time to be involved in things.
Totally. Yeah. Well, as a former principal at SAC, definitely familiar with the orange lighting in the gym, and those new spaces are really just unreal. It's surreal to walk in and see them. But it really situates in what we're focused on right now, in that student engagement has never been more important. And engaging kids and creating spaces where they feel like they're excited to be at school. School is fun. School is joyful. They feel a sense of belonging and connection. They feel like it belongs to them, and that there's a feeling of community inside of those buildings. That has never been more important. And there's lots of reasons for that. The pandemic didn't cause some of the disengagement that we're seeing in kids. It definitely accelerated and exacerbated some of it. And the really important work we have moving forward, and not just our school district, but school districts across the country, is how do you engage kids in a new, different, and exciting way? And how do we recognize that every generation of students a little bit different, what they need is a little bit different, their attributes are a little bit different, and how do we evolve with that? And in SPS, at the heart of our strategy is to have more activities, more athletics, more clubs, whether that's the spelling bee or the science fair or cheer or band or choir. We just want to just continue to really stretch the rubber band on what those different types of experiences are, because we know that a reality is one of our adversaries is technology, and technology it's incredible. It's amazing the type of access and opportunity it can provide. And I am sensing almost universal recognition across our city, across demographics, across age groups, whether it's parents or neighbors or grandparents or aunts or uncles. There seems to be a universal acknowledgement that our kids are spending too much time on screens.
That's what it is. It's too much. Some of it is great, and that's our 2023 world, but sometimes it's too much. I know when you were talking, I was thinking about, I saw a picture just the other day about the Lewis and Clark girls cross country team. Mm-hmm. Genuinely happy to be out there together, hanging out at Manitou, getting ready for the season, but just being together. And there wasn't a cell phone in sight in the picture. Now, somebody took the picture, but it was cool. And I thought, what a great way to get away and just do something fantastic, which is be athletic with the running piece, but also connect with your friends and like-minded people. And there's no need to be on a screen during that time. But then go home and connect with someone cool and look something up that you want to learn about. But at the same time, it just felt like a pure, wholesome picture.
I mean, screens are here to stay.
Sure.
I mean, they're not going anywhere. But I do think that they came so quickly that I think sometimes as a culture, we sometimes are so focused on can we do something and what can we provide. We don't always think as long and as hard about should we. And now we have a generation of kid that is on screens way too much. And the research is really clear. They need to be out, active, moving around, socializing in person with their peers. There's so many good outcomes that come from that. And, life is about balance in so many ways. But we want to just continue to message to families the importance of every kid participating in at least one extracurricular activity, athletic or club during the school year. Just try at least one. We hope you do a whole handful, but we're really going to be encouraging and promoting that every kid tries at least one. So we got some work to do in Stephanie's department around, increasing those different opportunities, but it's truly more important than ever.
I remember one of my connections when I was younger. A theme in this podcast is when I go way back to when I was younger, but cheerleading was a big deal for me. And I was also playing basketball and also running track, but cheerleading took up a lot of time, and it was a big responsibility, and it was something I took great pride in. And so because of that, I had to get my schoolwork done at certain times. And so that really taught me, we talk about life lessons, and everybody says that who's involved in athletics and activities, that it propels you into the future for great habits as an adult who's successful and so on. And I just remember one night being so tired, but organizing my index cards for my research project on Prince Edward Island junior year, and knowing, though, that I didn't want to be doing that the next night or the next night because I had games to be at, either to play in or to be a part of. And it was just something that was really important. And then I think about it now today, quite a few years later, but think about that those are the life lessons that it helped me with. And guess what? I got an A on that project. And it was because of some thought, but it was really because I was connected in a different way. And so my school work moved along with it. And so what were some things that you experienced as a student that has helped shape your thinking today with what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think something that either we experienced ourselves or we knew someone that moved through the world in this way is a lot of kids, their motivation for coming to school, their motivation for getting the work done is so that they can participate in that club, in that activity, or that athletic sport. And that's just the reality. As much as we love science, math, and social studies, the children typically don't come to school for the science textbook. You know, they don't. It doesn't mean they can't love science. It doesn't mean that can't ignite their passion for the future and their curiosity. Of course it does. And they're kids. And kids are motivated by things that are developmentally approximate where they are and how they're moving through the world. And I think it would be naive of us to think that what's going to motivate our kids is singularly coming and getting an education so that you can enter the future workforce. Most 13-year-olds I know are not necessarily motivated by that. They're motivated by what's the fun, what's the excitement that's going to happen in my life. And, there's some things that I have to do to be able to participate in those. And so I think we need to get back to that a little bit. I think there's some pretty foundational things about childhood and about being a student that we maybe drifted away from the last decade and a half, 2 decades. And we need to come back to some of those things. There's lots of things that we should leave in the past and do better and differently. But there's also some realities that kids are kids. And kids have been kids for a while now. And there's some differences, but there's a lot of similarities.
Especially with their growth and their development. They're still the same age. They might know a few more things. They might have been on more screens like we've talked about, but they're still kids developing. And when you talk about the 13-year-olds, when you're 13, you're really excited to be around other kids your age and kind of experience the world and whatever that looks like. And it might look like science club if you are the kid that loves that science and want to extend it during the day.
I know we have a group of high schoolers. They really want talent shows.
Yeah.
They want more talent shows.
I love that.
Let's do it.
And I think, yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so we are not just talking about ball sports.
Exactly.
That is not
That's
what
the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. That is not what this is. What this is how can we find as many different types of experiences as possible that get kids excited, that get them interested, that encourage them to come to school, to be there afterwards, to be around their peers. I sometimes when I'm talking with community members about this topic, I'll just say, I don't know, predominantly the vast majority of adults are spending their day going someplace, and one of the primary drivers is they get paid, and so that's just a reality. And so I don't think that that is not a worthwhile reality to expose kids to, is that you come to school, you do the work, and then part of the payoff is you get to participate in all these fun, amazing, exciting opportunities. That's a really developmentally appropriate reality for us to expose kids to, because that's what it is in adulthood. Yeah. You go to work, and then you get something for it. And so I think we need to get back to that a little bit.
Yeah, I think the cool part of this podcast is that it has, a lot of what extracurriculars are going on, but I feel like it has opened our eyes to so many different things like you mentioned, no, they're probably not going to school for the science textbook, but they're going to school because of robotics.
Absolutely.
After school.
Yeah.
I've done a Lego robotics story. One of the first things I did when I took this job was I wrote down every single club at every single level. And now Leandra has a beautiful graphic of every single club we have. And that's just what it really shows you, that there's so many different things. If you don't think you're going to be interested in sports per se, there's likely something out there for you. And if it's not there, bring it up to someone. Talk to your staff members, talk to your counselor, your principal, and be like, this is something like the talent shows that we want to do.
And there's probably other kids that want to do it too. When I was a principal, we started Cyber Patriots at the middle school level. We were the first middle school to do that program. And I remember coming on a Saturday to one of the competitions, and it was just such a cool thing because it was a group of students that maybe didn't know each other previously, didn't necessarily have classes together, didn't necessarily eat lunch together, but that was their people. Right. And they found their people. And they were so joyful to be with other kids that had similar interests. It was really just an empowering moment to see that if we create spaces and we create a variety of spaces, that kids can find the one that fits for them, and then to see them be able to flourish when they have that sense of belonging and connection, kids flourish. And so it's so important, more important than ever. And I also think that our parents, it's really important that we raise awareness about social media. Yeah. And I think that it's something that maybe for some families they're just now starting to develop an understanding of how toxic it is. Social media is literally like giving your kid poison. Mm-hmm. And whether that's bullying, harassment, sex trafficking, fentanyl use, normalization of violence, sexualization, you name it, social media is becoming a gateway for our kids, and they're spending hours ingesting that poison.
So many hours.
So many hours. And so I really believe that it's going to be critical that we work together as a community, that educators, politicians, social service groups raise awareness in our community to inform our families that it's not like our parents used to say, don't watch so much TV, it rots your brain, right? This is different. This is different, and it's much more serious and much more detrimental, but we got to have an alternative. Right. We got to be able to help our families say, all right, we got to dial back this social media thing. How about you go do this? Right. How about you go do that? Because that's such a harder conversation if families don't have an alternative to offer their student. Then it gets into a deeper power struggle. Yeah. And we know that doesn't lead to good things. So
we did a quick survey thinking about all the things that we've been discussing, just to see how it would work to gather some student voice on a quick, just a day's time. So Michael is one of our great extracurricular leaders and people at Ridgeview Elementary. He put out a clever poll to all his school, and he had a half day to do it. He gathered 30 responses, and those 30 responses say they want art club at Ridgeview, and they want to play some volleyball. Those are classic, easy to pull off. We can do it right now. And it was so powerful to hear from those 30 kids that they were just taking a quick survey that he put out. That's how we can gather student voice. It doesn't always have to be a massive situation, but art club, let's get it rolling. We can do that. And so we made sure that they got to try it last year, and then they're going to do both this year on a bigger scale. So that's great.
I love that. I also hope that we can spark an interest and excitement again of coming and being spectators at events.
Yeah.
And that's
point.
Part of, American culture. The last, 30 to 40 years is Friday night football, or everyone going to the basketball game, or people coming to see the drama performance. And again, I think, the world has changed, and technology has stolen away the attention of so many kids. And there's so many things you can do with your time now. And so we've been spending a lot of time, I know, in Stephanie's team talking about how do we have an amazing fan experience? How do we make those games exciting and fun and entertaining? Because again, if we can get our kids together in healthy, safe spaces, they're going to flourish and do better. But we can't just sit back and just hope that happens. We have to do new and different things to nurture that.
Like we mentioned before the interview, you can find the full entire 27-minute conversation that Stephanie and I had with Dr. Adam Swinyard wherever you found your podcast for this, so SPS podcast. And I highly suggest listening to the full version because
it's a good one.
Absolutely. He provides perspective, and like you said, he wants this for our kids. He's totally bought in. He wants whatever the kids want. Talking about talent shows, bringing those back. And if you're interested in something or you have just this thought in your head, talk about it with someone.
I had an email come my way the other day, and I was so glad to get it. It was from a student at LC asking about boys volleyball. Love it.
Oh, I love that.
Love it. But it was so just authentic. He said, I searched in the directory, and I think that maybe you're the person to contact. I was like,
my heart.
Sir, you did contact the right person. That's fantastic. And so we're getting some things in motion to make that happen. We had it a couple years ago, so we have a good starting point for it. But I loved that. And so everything doesn't have to be a big survey. Everything doesn't have to be, a big movement to get things done. Maybe just hearing sometimes what kids want to do is fantastic.
Yeah, and boys volleyball has this very, very popular. And I mean, I'm sure every one of our girls volleyball coaches right now knows how popular it is, especially here in Spokane. I mean, the Shadle Park girls volleyball coach, she coaches, I'm pretty positive, a boys volleyball club team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So love hearing from kids about what they want to do, and we welcome it for sure.
Yeah, we certainly do welcome it. And coming up next, we'll talk to North Central Girls Soccer. They're one of those teams that will get this amazing opportunity to play in the new stadium at One Spokane Stadium in downtown. We talk a little bit about that with them, but we also just talk about how they haven't had a home like most of our fall and some spring teams. They have not had a home. They're kind of, all over the place over these last few years because of Joe Albee Stadium not being existent anymore. And so I'm excited for them.
Yeah, it's very exciting for North Central right down the street.
So coming up next, we'll have North Central Girls Soccer. Welcome back to SPS Extra. I'm up at Dwight Merkel Field with the North Central Girls Soccer team. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves, and we'll go from there.
I'm Sammy Mazurek. I'm a senior, and I'm a center back.
I'm Brooke Suter. I'm a senior as well, and I play outside back and forward, and I'm also a part of the track team.
I'm Abby Leeson. I'll be a junior, and I play goalkeeper, and I also play tennis.
So the fun part about this is you guys are captains. 3 captains of this team. How much pride, how much honor is it to be a team captain?
I'm very honored to be captain of this team. I played all 4 years, and just being able to be a leader and be able to step up for this team is really exciting.
It's also very special because not only do we get chosen by our coaches, but we also get chosen by our teammates, so it's really an honor.
Can you guys describe what it means to be a leader? What kind of skills and mindset do you have to be a leader?
I think communication is a big one, like both on the field, telling people where to go or where to be, and then as well as on the sideline of not only giving advice but also giving encouragement.
I think it's also important to learn how to be able to adapt to not only your teammates but your environment. Last year we had to have our turf redone, so learning how to be a leader and adapt to all the changes was really hard.
I think it's also really important just your overall attitude for others to see. After hard games or hard practices, it's important to keep a good attitude and stay encouraging to just help with the overall dynamic of the team.
You mentioned changes and adversity. I mean, you guys have kind of done that your whole high school careers, unfortunately. COVID, no quote-unquote home stadium. You guys practice at a beautiful facility, but it's 15 minutes from your high school. There's a lot of things. You guys have been road warriors. What has that been like these past few years of trying to get through that adversity and, like we've been talking about, being leaders through that? Because it's not easy being in the situation that you guys have been in.
while these were definitely challenges, it definitely brought us as a team closer, going through these struggles together, as well as being able to adapt together, as because we have not a real home field. We have to travel, getting rides together and just being able to get closer as a team.
I think it's definitely unique compared to what many other classes have gone through, as well as other schools, because of how far away we practice from our school. So I think that's unique to North Central, which is, it can be a little bit difficult, but it's also unique to us, which makes us more bonded.
I agree with Sammy and Brooke. Even though we do have some challenges that are definitely different than other schools we play against, even when it's frustrating, you know that your whole team is doing it together. So I think it's just another thing that does bring us together.
There's light at the end of the tunnel. You'll get it part of this season and then all of next season. You guys will get it for a short time, but a memorable time. How excited are you guys to finally have this place you can call home? It's walkable from North Central. That within itself, I feel like, is a win.
I think it's kind of like the cherry on top for my senior year, because freshman year we started with a really short season that was way late, and then sophomore year we still had to deal with masking and stuff like that, and last year we had Dwight Merkel, the new turf, so I think it's just going to make it complete our high school soccer experience.
I completely agree with what Sammy said. It's also very exciting to have our community get to be brought together. Such a big stadium, we'll get to have students in the stands, not just sitting on the sideline, and that's really exciting to be able to have.
I mean, just hearing that, you guys seem like such a fun, bonded group. We'll hear a lot of that in the stadium and, of course, in your guys' games here in the next 4 weeks before you guys do get to experience the stadium. But what's it like playing for this team?
I love playing for this team. It's super exciting. I think it's very helpful that we have such amazing coaches like Peter and Leonard. They definitely help bring the energy up, which definitely helps us all and helps us just play better and just have more fun.
I love that I get to play with new people than I do year-round, because you have people that play club soccer from all different clubs and then people that don't and just want to play for the school season, and I think that's really cool and important to play with other people.
I agree with Sammy. I have been playing with the same girls on my club team my whole life, so getting to come to NC and meet new girls and just all these different personalities, it's a really fun group.
I ask this every time I'm doing a student athlete interview. Why do you guys feel like extracurriculars are important? And then a second part of that question, how do you feel like extracurriculars, sports for you guys, have shaped you?
I think it's super important. I know, especially my freshman year, coming into high school not really knowing anyone, having soccer to give you a group of girls that you're friends with and you spend every day with, it's a unique experience. It's helped shape me just because it's given me many new friendships, and it is just a different experience than club sports or sports you play anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree with Abby. I think it's really easy to make friends at extracurriculars as compared to your classes in high school.
I agree that sports have just helped you find the similar crowd of people as you, people who enjoy the same things. It also has helped me so much to learn how to adapt to challenges, learning how to go through struggles in sports, and it helps me in the real world, and being able to bring our school closer together during sports, like football games, volleyball games, basketball games, and of course soccer games. It's just really fun community.
Thank you guys so much, and good luck this season. We've said it so many times on this podcast, and a lot of people in the community know how close-knit North Central is and how they truly make it feel like a family, and the girls soccer players just attested to that, and how getting people together and being involved in extracurriculars has this amazing sense of family. And it's always like that with the Wolfpack.
I connected when some of the girls were saying that it goes beyond classroom relationships. When you're on a team with someone, you really make that intense connection, and that's so cool. And then I also heard them give those life lessons that we've talked about earlier in the episode and on other episodes that they're learning how to deal with adversity.
Absolutely.
So when they experience it on the field, it's actually no big deal,
right?
Because they've already experienced it in real life, and they're conditioned to respond in a way that's just super awesome, passionate, and go out there and do their best. And I also loved that they really enjoy being together with other girls they wouldn't probably normally meet.
Exactly.
And so that was pretty powerful. So
very powerful.
way to go, Wolfpack.
I know. And
fantastic.
Then the first time they'll play in One Spokane Stadium, that will be on Wednesday, October 4th against Ridgeline. So if you want to go and watch some girls soccer, experience the new stadium, and you are Wolfpack and want to cheer on North Central girls soccer, then that will be your time. Obviously, they have games before that. We know that. But
that's their debut at the stadium.
Their debut at the stadium, which will be so
Second
fun.
week, so that's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So fun. All right, so coming up next, we are going to chat with Ferris Cheer. They give us another new interesting perspective on how much hard work goes into cheer and all the different events that they have to be at. They're not just at football games. I learned they also cheer at volleyball games.
Oh, yes.
Which is incredible. They cheer at wrestling games, basketball games. They're everywhere. And then alongside that, they are doing competitions as well.
They're one of our most competitive teams and went to state last year in Battleground and are hoping to head there this year. And then nationals sounds like. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Carrying on the tradition of the Ferris Cheer. It's always been awesome.
As Stephanie knows well.
It's always been awesome.
Carrying on the torch.
Saxon Power! Saxon Power!
Welcome back to SPS Extra. I'm up at Ferris High School with a couple of cheerleaders. As we know, cheer has exploded. It has now become an Olympic sport, which is incredible. And so first, I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into this amazing topic.
Hi, my name is Alana. I am a senior at Ferris High School. I have been on the cheer team for 2 years, and I am also a part of the biomed program at Ferris.
My name is Bodie, and this is my second year on the cheer team. I'm a junior, and cheer takes up all my time, so I'm not doing anything else.
There is nothing wrong with that. And with that, you just said it yourself. Cheer takes up a lot of time. For people who don't understand how much time this takes up for you guys, describe your year-long practices, competitions. It's kind of a lot, I know, but if you can condense it into what you guys go through to be on the cheer team, describe that.
First, we start with usually summer camps and practices just to kind of get us ready for the football season. Then we hop right in and do football and volleyball games. Then we get into basketball season where we're preparing for rubber chicken, which is between our rival school. And so we're doing that routine as well as getting ready for comp season as well. So we're preparing our comp routine and cheering for basketball games. And then we go into state and rubber chicken. And then after that, we have 2-month break, and then go into practicing for the Lilac Parade, and then it just repeats itself after that.
What is this like for both of you guys to be involved with something that takes so much dedication?
It actually is very important in both of our lives. Cheer becomes sort of a family, and it helps benefit other parts of your life. It has really helped me get through high school and just support me in my education.
Can you expand a little bit more on family and how this team connects and has a good time together too?
This team is very different than a whole lot of other sports. We're very connected. We have a great community in our cheer team. We have a different kind of energy that we bring to practice every day. You know, we could have a rough day, but we're all still smiling and encouraging each other and cheering for each other.
Once again, it does take up a lot of our time, so there are weeks where we see each other every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we begin to connect and learn about each other's lives. After every practice, we sit in a circle and say one good thing about the practice and the day we had, or another question like a good thing about another cheerleader on your team that you noticed that day, and it helps us connect very well.
For both of you, why did you guys decide to join the team?
I decided to join the cheer team here at Ferris because I love having a family aspect. I've played sports my whole life, and just viewing all the sports here at Ferris, the cheer team definitely showed me that I will be supported, be able to do what I love, and I'm a very competitive person, so I'll be able to compete in something that I like to do.
I actually did soccer for 12 years, And so I did 1 year at Ferris, and I was like, this is not really what I was kind of looking for. And so I'm very good at tumbling, which is another way of saying flipping. And so I wanted to learn technique for that. And so I asked my dad, because he was a cheerleader. He said, yeah, you can learn that in cheer. And I had a friend that was doing it. So I was like, yeah, why not? And it just turned into something really awesome.
For you, this is unique because we see a lot more male cheerleaders, especially at the collegiate level these days. How unique has this situation been, being a male cheerleader, and how many of there are you?
We have 4 cheerleaders this year, and last year we had 6, which is crazy. Not a whole lot of schools. When they do have male cheerleaders, it's like 1 to 2, maybe 3. Like not that many. We kind of rivaled with Moses Lake, who has like 4 to 5.
So what's that been like for you?
It's very awesome to have a bunch of guys to hang out with on the cheer team, not just surrounded by, a bunch of girls, just to, have another community with the guys. And being able to hang out at the games is just so fun.
People, when they think of cheerleading, some people, they think, oh, they're just pumping up the crowd and they're, doing that. But this is a true sport. You have to have strength, you have to condition, you have to do all of those things. Can you guys talk a little bit about that aspect of it?
Yes, cheer is a very high intensity sport, and that has evolved into more of an intense sport in high school cheer over the years, since most of Eastern Washington is now competing. And there's something we call smart cheerleading. So when you're cheerleading, like how we are, when you're stunting, you are in charge for everyone's life in your stunt. When you're tumbling, you're in charge of your own life. When you are competing, you are in charge of representing your team. And so smart cheerleading is checking into cheerleading, knowing what you're needing to be doing, and just basically taking responsibility for your actions.
There's nothing that we don't do that requires, you can't just do nothing and show up and...
Right, you can't just do it.
Yeah, it takes hard work. You're there. You can't not be doing something at cheer practice because we're moving so fast. We're learning one stunt one day, and then we've progressed into an entirely new, different type of skill within the hour. We're always improving, and I feel like Alana said, if you don't have the right technique or the right skill level, something bad can happen.
I have something to add that with Ferris cheer team being co-ed, it helps us prepare for collegiate cheerleading because most college cheer teams in Washington now are co-ed. Mm-hmm. And it just opens a whole new range of stunting that we can do in our team to prepare us for any stunts we'd want to do. It helps us learn all girls stunts with our girls and co-ed stunts with our boys.
You guys will go on this new adventure this year where you have this new beautiful downtown stadium. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you guys are gonna be so close to the crowd. The crowd's basically going to be on top of you because the bleachers go all the way down to the field. You'll be standing right in front of them. How excited are you guys to cheer at the new stadium?
I am so absolutely excited to cheer at this new stadium. I'm very excited for how it'll uplift our spirit at games, how much more effective us cheerleaders will be able to be at cheering for the crowd.
I too am very excited to have this new opportunity to cheer in this big stadium. And like you said, we're going to be right in front of the crowd. And I think, that gives us an added cheering effect to everybody when we're right in front of their faces, being like, hey, come on, let's do this, let's do that. I feel like we will really be able to get the crowd cheering. And I feel like that's just going to be so awesome.
What can you guys say about competition and what that intensity is like, what that atmosphere is like, knowing you have to hit your stunts, knowing you have to be completely in sync together because you are competing. You want to win at that point, of course.
We are very competitive here at Ferris. When we're preparing, we are thinking about the long game, we want to qualify for state so that way we can go to state, and then this year hopefully nationals too. And so we have to think about this long term, and so when we're doing our competitions and we go out on the floor, we're thinking about this, like this could be our routine at nationals. This could be our routine, this could be our winning routine at state.
I mean, all eyes are on you, like all the time, a lot of the time. If they're not watching, once the touchdown happens, once the three-pointer goes in, people's eyes are shifting to you. In a competition, eyes are on you the entire time. You're literally being judged. It is already difficult just being a human and walking through life, but you guys have the eyes on you all the time. How do you guys deal with that, especially with competition and that mental mindset of not getting in your head about that? Because that's a lot to handle.
It is a very hard thing to get into your head about when you are at that 2-minute warm-up mark before you're about to go on to your mats and compete. And it's very something that you yourself have to individually breathe. And I always say this, that know what you need to do and know it. If you know what you need to do, you're able to do it.
We are all being watched, not just at competitions, not just at football games or basketball games, but in the school as well. We're always being watched by, like, everything we do in this school. We're always being watched. And before there's a game, we have our uniforms on, showing everybody that we are here. And I feel like you just have to be confident in yourself to be able to be like, yeah, I'm a cheerleader. When I first put on that uniform, I was like really nervous. Everyone's like, wait, are you a cheerleader? I'm like, yeah, but I had to get over that, and just be confident. Just like, yeah, I'm a cheerleader for Ferris. This is awesome.
I feel like you guys have, and you still have one more year left, which is incredible. You have your whole year ahead of you, I know. But those moments do kind of come at you really fast. You look back and you'll be like me, and you'll be like, 10 years ago. It's crazy how much time flies. So yeah, great perspective.
Yeah, I love that we have created such an amazing and determined and just very reputation cheer team here at Ferris, because I can look back and be proud of why and what I did after I joined the cheer team.
Saxon Power! Let's go! Saxon Power!
Such a great conversation with the Ferris cheerleaders. They do bring the spirit, but they also bring the realism that it is of being a cheerleader, and it's not just waving your pom-poms around and getting the crowd pumped up. It's so much more than that. A lot of athleticism, a lot of practice, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, which we know a lot of our student athletes go through that too, but it ain't no joke, everybody.
If you follow them on Instagram, they have a really good Ferris Cheer Instagram. You can always see a little window into their worlds, practicing stunting in the wrestling room with their great cheerleading mats and so on, but then also some of the community service that they do and just how they're prepping and taking a lot of pride.
Yeah, and it was fun to hear them talk about how, obviously, we know how the West Side operates. We know that they have a lot of the bigger competitions. They have some things going on over there, but it's coming more to the east side of the state, and they were talking to that and how there's more competitions this year on this side of the state, and that's really exciting. That's just how you can see the sport expanding. And like I mentioned many times in that interview, it's becoming an Olympic sport.
Right. And cheer hasn't been recognized as a Title IX sport forever, for any time, which is ridiculous. Like, you say that to people and they think, what? We see cheerleaders. We know cheerleaders can be scholarshiped at different schools and so on, and there's absolutely no reason for it. So it's just an old kind of law, an old kind of application, but groups like the Ferris cheerleaders are making a pretty good case why this is a serious sport, and we're so glad to have them part of our system. We have really good cheerleaders in Spokane schools right now.
Yes.
That is top notch. So much so that we have a lot of interest, and we'll be starting up JV cheer pretty soon.
Are you kidding
me? JV cheer is going to happen. We're going to pilot it this year, and then we're going to go full-fledged next year. So that's awesome.
Wow, that is really, really incredible. And if you want to see Ferris cheer at One Spokane Stadium, we're going to plug it too. Ferris, they have their first football game there on October 20th against Central Valley. That's a 5 p.m. kickoff.
That's going to be exciting.
I know. Those cheerleaders are going to have like the best view. I mean, there's so many great views in that stadium, but they're going to be right there, right up against the crowd, and really get that fan fan cheer experience, and I think it's going to be really, really fun for
We're going to get them in there before that game because that's a little later into the fall. They're going to be there a couple times. They're going to be part of our opening ceremonies and ribbon cutting.
So fun. Okay, so like we mentioned, we love fall. We love all the things. We talk about it a lot with our student athletes in particular, but this goes across the board, whatever age level that you are. Mental health is a very, very big thing these days, always has been, but we've seen it become more prominent since COVID, in trying to be there for our kids and recognizing how much they go through and what they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that tailors into sports as well, because those kids are constantly moving and going and trying to keep it together. And I even am as a 28-year-old, so keeping it together.
During COVID, one of the first research studies that came out, because nobody knew what was happening during that time, right? But the biggest study that came out quickly was the impact that not having extracurricular activities in athletics had on student athletes, both high school and college specifically. And that was a really powerful look into the world of, that's a big deal to have that taken away. So part of our mission to expand and connect and have all the opportunities possible really contributes to that commitment to student mental health. And so we're going to dive into it in the next episode with some different experts and perspectives and see how it goes.
So that will be for October. And I mean, I had a brother who was a high schooler when COVID was going on. So I unfortunately was living in Denver at the time, so I didn't get to see it up close and with him always, but we always talked about it, and he finally got his basketball season. They had I think 10, 12 games, so it wasn't a full season like a lot of our kiddos experienced too, but he was very, very sad.
I would have been sad too,
emotional.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a tough time, but
So tough.
I think back about all my connections in high school and college with athletics, and if that hadn't been there, I'm not sure what I would have been doing. So I can totally identify. But on the other hand, COVID aside, it's just an important piece of thinking about taking care of athletes, not just their bodies, but their minds, hearts, and spirits as well. So
Absolutely.
important for us to talk about.
Yeah. So that will be for October. But until then, remember to follow us at SpokaneSchools.org and at Spokane Schools on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can watch our stories at SpokaneSchools.org/stories. We have all the good stuff, especially here at the beginning of the year and throughout the school year as well. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys in October.